Avoiding victimhood, especially when it's false, is not a great advertisement for leadership. Kamala Harris's new memoir of the 24 election is called 107 Days, but it should have been called Everyone Sucks But Me. Look, ladies, I know this isn't fair, but we're all always running against the worst cliche of who people think we are. Women Democrats can't look oversensitive or preachy or unable to laugh at themselves. They also can't look silly, like Gretchen Whitmer did, trying to hide in the Oval Office. They have to look brave and strong.
Bill Maher is lighting up the Democratic Party leadership for abandoning what he sees as its core mission: energizing voters and winning elections. According to Maher, party leaders have become obsessed with side battles while the most obvious political truths are being ignored. He didn't mince words when he took this frustration to his show, and the result was brutal. So buckle up, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into it.
There is no argument here. There's just the sugar rush that the no-contact people get from never coming in second in a I hate Trump the most contest. Really? That's your strategy, to go full high school and tell the guy with all the power he can't sit with you at the lunch table? To borrow a phrase familiar to HBO viewers, you are not serious people. I mean, what exactly is the argument? That by talking to Trump, I'll elevate him? Oh my God, don't tell me he could become president. Well, I guess Ma'am Donnie is going to elevate Trump because he went to the White House today, and look who's getting along now.
Maher zeroes in on what he calls one of the Democrats' most self-destructive habits: refusing to engage with Trump or anyone who voted for him. To Maher, that stance is not only unrealistic, it's politically foolish. Politics is not a social media mute button. You don't win elections by shutting out half the country, and you don't grow a movement by hiding inside an echo chamber. Maher argues this approach isn't moral or principled, it's unserious. Voters you ignore don't disappear, they harden against you. While Democrats chase purity tests, Republicans keep persuading, campaigning, and expanding their base. What Democrats call virtue often comes across as arrogance, and Maher warns that unless the party starts treating disagreement as part of democracy rather than betrayal, it will keep losing ground.
Guy, MBS was at the White House this week. Biden thought he could cut him off, but a year later he found out he couldn't. There's no perfect way to deal with Trump, but not engaging is for sure nothing. Axios wrote a column in August entitled 11 Ways to Influence Trump, based on many interviews with people who have done that. Number 8, get face to face. The trick is getting in the room, away from cameras and social media. Trump will say or write horrible things, but rarely in person, one-on-one, where he comes off kinder, more interested, less erratic. Exactly. And there's a bunch of examples of this. Most recently, the CEO of Intel, who Trump was hating on, but then he met in person and now he's a great guy.
Maher drives home an uncomfortable truth. Ignoring Trump and his supporters doesn't weaken them, it strengthens them. Every time Democrats refuse to engage, that movement grows louder and more energized. Silence, Maher says, is not moral superiority, it's political surrender. When a party stops talking to people who disagree, it doesn't change minds, it gives up on them. Democracy depends on persuasion, not isolation. By refusing to engage opposing views, Democrats deepen resentment and push undecided voters further away. Instead of expanding their tent, they shrink it, trapping themselves in an ideological bubble where dissent is treated like treason. In trying to look morally pure, Maher warns, Democrats risk becoming politically irrelevant.
Trump was going to send the National Guard to San Francisco, but somebody talked him out of that. Kim Kardashian, for fuck's sake, convinced him to sign legislation. Don't you get it? Do you really not get it at this point? Everything with him is done through personal relationships. He's a people guy. Trust me, he's not at home at night poring over the briefing books. This is government by people is saying. If anything, we need more people like me having dinner with him. You complain he's surrounded by ass-kissers, but your strategy is to make sure no one but ass-kissers are around him. You are not serious people.
Watching all this unfold live was Donna Brazile, sitting there as Ma unloaded on the party leadership. And his argument was hard to dismiss. Ma insists that the only way to truly confront Trump and the MAGA movement isn't through insults or boycotts, but through direct conversation. You don't dismantle a political force by pretending it doesn't exist. You weaken it by engaging the people behind it. Ma stresses that nothing meaningful in politics happens without personal connection. Change is built face-to-face, not through online outrage. When a party chooses to alienate voters who don't agree with it, it doesn't look principled, it looks afraid. Ma's message is blunt. If Democrats want to win again, they must stop talking about Trump voters and start talking to them.
Perpetuating victimhood, especially when it's false, is not a great advertisement for leadership. Kamala Harris's new memoir of the 24 election is called 107 Days, but it should have been called Everyone Sucks But Me.
Ma then turns to what he sees as another major failure of Democratic leadership: the total refusal to accept responsibility for losing. Instead of honest self-reflection, the party defaulted to finger-pointing. From Kamala Harris to AOC to Bernie Sanders, the excuses kept shifting. The voters were uninformed, the media was unfair, the messaging wasn't progressive enough, or the country just didn't understand. Ma argues that avoiding accountability is exactly why the party keeps repeating the same mistakes. Losing should trigger serious introspection, not denial. A party unwilling to admit error becomes incapable of growth. Accountability isn't weakness, it's credibility, and without it, Ma believes Democrats will continue drifting further from the people they claim to represent.
7 days is a victim's title because, get it, she only had 107 days to win. Yeah, and $1.5 billion, and a built-in army of about 75 million people who'd vote for any human-adjacent life form that wasn't Trump. But in 107 days, nothing is ever Kamala's fault. Biden lets her down by not stepping down sooner. Pouty face emoji.
Ma also questions Kamala Harris for turning on the very person who elevated her to national prominence. President Biden had many options, yet he chose her, transforming her from senator to vice president overnight. That decision reshaped her career. Yet after the election loss, Biden suddenly became the convenient scapegoat. Ma asks how blaming the man who gave you the biggest platform of your life helps the party move forward. Instead of acknowledging flawed strategy or weak messaging, responsibility is shifted upward. Ma argues this reflexive blame poisons unity and damages credibility. Progress doesn't come from rewriting history or scapegoating allies. It comes from owning mistakes and learning from them.
Gavin Newsom, he was asked for his endorsement, but texted, "Hiking, we'll call back." But then never did. And then he didn't even ask her to prom. America itself lets Kamala down by not being ready for the running mate she really wanted, Pete Buttigieg. So she's stuck with the Home Depot paint salesman. And the rest is herstory. Pork.
According to Ma, Kamala didn't stop with Biden. She reportedly widened the blame to include Gavin Newsom for not endorsing her, as if that alone would have guaranteed victory. Ma calls that thinking detached from reality. Endorsements don't win elections, voters do. Then came the suggestion that the country simply wasn't ready for certain candidates. To Ma, that perfectly sums up what's broken in the party mindset. When politicians lose, instead of asking what they did wrong, they conclude the voters must be the problem. You can't win back voters while insulting them, and you certainly can't lead people you refuse to understand.
Kamala writes that on election night, when it was clear she lost, an aide peeled the words "Madam President" off the cupcakes before handing them out. Oh, geez, that's like a scene from Bridget Jones Runs for President, for Christ's sake.
Ma even points out that Kamala allegedly blamed her own campaign staff and volunteers, which he finds both telling and absurd. Leadership means ownership, not scapegoating. Critics argue her campaign leaned heavily into ideological positions that failed to connect with working-class Americans and moderates. She avoided unscripted moments, relied on rehearsed talking points, and dodged tough questions. Ma argues these were not staff failures, they were candidate failures. Elections aren't lost because volunteers knock on the wrong doors. They're lost when voters don't trust the message or the messenger. Until that reality is faced, Ma warns, the party will keep mistaking accountability for betrayal.
Ladies, I know this isn't fair, but we're all always running against the worst cliche of who people think we are. Women Democrats can't look oversensitive or preachy or unable to laugh at themselves. They also can't look silly, like Gretchen Whitmer did, trying to hide in the Oval Office. They have to look brave and strong. It wasn't a good look for the woman party that all the guys were speaking out for Jimmy Kimmel when Trump went after him, except on the Woman Show, where for 5 days the outspoken hosts were suddenly as quiet as a geisha.
Ma then took aim at the media, calling out figures on The View for staying silent when their voices mattered most. He pointed to the Jimmy Kimmel controversy, noting how few were willing to speak up until it was safe to do so. To Ma, that reflects a wider culture driven by caution rather than conviction. Speaking only when there's no risk does nothing for integrity or credibility. And in the end, Ma's message is clear. The Democratic Party is failing because it refuses accountability, alienates voters, and blames everyone but itself. From leadership ignoring Trump supporters to figures like Kamala deflecting blame onto allies and voters, the party is trapped in its own echo chamber. Ma warns that progress comes through dialogue, honest self-reflection, and real courage, not moral posturing. Until Democrats face their mistakes and reconnect with the electorate, they risk remaining irrelevant. And that brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit like and subscribe for more.